It's time for some retro bollocks. Today we're going to do a Viz special. Now, for anyone not familiar with Viz, it's a British magazine that's been going since the 80s, early 80s. I've got quite a few issues here, some of the early ones. I've got a lot of the annual books, which are just funny. But Viz, to me, it's just my sort of humour. It's just ridiculously stupid, but it's not everybody's humour. So you either get Viz or you don't get Viz. It's like you've got Private Eye. So with Private Eye, I could read Private Eye and it's about as funny as a burning child's head. It's just not for me. It's not for me in Private Eye. But Viz is like, it's funny, but sometimes you just get comedy gold from them. So we're gonna have a bit of a Viz retro bollocks today, because it's retro. It's been going a long time as a Viz. So I'm gonna read some of my favourite Viz stories. You're either gonna find them hilarious or it's not gonna be your humour. But it's just my sort of humour. It's just ridiculously stupid. I will go through that. But before we start on that, it's retro bollocks, so I've had some new arrivals. So first game is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. It's on the Nintendo 3DS. Another classic Zelda game. Not the best, it's not one of the best out of the franchise, but it is still up there as a good game. If you've not played Majora's Mask, I highly recommend that one. So I had to get it in my collection, so I've got all the others. So that was the first purchase I made recently. Yeah, then we've got Fire Emblem's Fate's Birthright, another massive RPG for the Nintendo 3DS. You definitely need your SD card for this, because it takes up a lot of memory, but an absolute classic, and also getting quite sought after now, so it's going up in value. Fire Emblem's Fate's Birthright. Then I went back to some old retro. I just got this cheapy Super Mario Brothers for the DS. I'm actually at the car boot and the guy gave me the box. It was empty. Had the instructions, that were immaculate. He just said, "Oh, you can have it." So I took the box and then I bought the game online for a couple of quid. But yes, new Super Mario Brothers, not bad. £2. The classic, isn't it? It's a classic, is Mario Brothers. Then I only just recently discovered Angry Birds. That's how mental and out of touch I am. Yeah, I missed it all. It was like a mobile thing, and I didn't even realise that Activision were behind it. Call of Duty makers. But yes, so I bought Angry Birds Star Wars, which is quite addictive, and then I thought, I've got to get the rest on that. So I got Angry Birds Trilogy. But yeah, they are very addictive, aren't they, Angry Birds? And then the last purchase I got was on the SNES. I thought, interesting. Japanese version of Final Fight. I mean, I've got it on the Sega CD, but I just saw it there for cheap. Sniped it on eBay. Cart only, but might be a worthwhile investment, that. I've not really seen it on SNES before, so I thought, yeah, we'll get that Japanese version. So that arrived yesterday, and that is my retro haul. It's a little bit whipped through it because we've got this Viz special. But that's my purchases recently, although I did have one more purchase, which was Sonic 3, which I got just to complete my collection. Right then, so let's fire into some Viz then. Let's start with Aginian Skeletor. Now everyone knows Skeletor, He-Man. Adam, look, with his fucking crazy bob hairstyle. I grew up with He-Man and absolutely loved He-Man as a kid. And Skeletor obviously being the super villain. Even now on Warzone you can get the skeleton skin. You know, there's kids playing it that have never probably even heard of Skeletor. So yeah, with Viz they did this stupid article where it's Ask Skeletor for advice, and this is just pure gold.
The evil Skeletor, skull-faced He-Man and the Masters of the Universe supervillain answers your problems. Letter of the day. Dear Skeletor, my husband and I argue all the time, usually over nothing, and I always end up saying something I shouldn't. I'm 28 and my husband is 29, and we have been married for 5 years. It never used to be this way, but lately we just can't stop getting at each other. How do I stop this vicious cycle? That's from Sandra in Derby. Skeletor says,
At times we all say things that we regret. I recall once saying to He-Man, the people of Eternia will see you kneel before me just before you die. Looking back, it was a dreadful thing to say, but these things slip off the tongue all too easy in anger. I would advise you just step back from the argument before it happens, breathe, and count to 10.
Dear Skeletor, I found out that my boyfriend and best friend have been seeing each other behind my back. He is 21 and I am 18, and we have been going out for nearly a year. I'm so angry, and although it is not in my nature, I really want revenge. You're evil. Can you recommend any good form of vengeance? That's from Sally in Brentwood. Skeletor says,
Revenge is a dish best served cold. I remember once at the Galactic Games, I decided to get my own back on He-Man after being roundly trounced. I set up an ambush and transported myself and another villain, Krita, and He-Man to the ancient ruins of Oasis on Primus. Then I challenged He-Man to our final battle. Long and short of it is that I got caught completely off guard, and Krita and I got knocked off the cliff ledge and into the shuttle pod. In all the ensuing chaos, He-Man managed to get hold of my staff and use his power sword to trap myself and Krita in the shuttle pod and exile us into space. It really wasn't worth it, and neither will it be in your case. Just walk away. The best revenge is to go on and be happy.
I feel so guilty over my affair. I love my wife very much, but I have been cheating on her with a woman at work for 6 months now. I am 35 and my wife is 34, and we have been married for 10 years. I'm really ashamed of my actions, but as much as I'd like to end my affair and put things right, I can't bring myself to face the music. Also, the woman I have been seeing has threatened to tell my wife everything if I call it off with her. What should I do? That's from Mike in Norwich. Skeletor says,
If there's one thing I've learned in my time as an intergalactic warlord, it's that honesty is the best policy. I remember once I fooled the Galactic Guardian Hydron into thinking I was a force for good, that he needed to save his own planet Primus, when in fact it was actually He-Man. To cut a long story short, he couldn't decide who was good and who was evil, so transported us both to the future. My evil nature was eventually found out, but if I'd just been honest, in the first place, I wouldn't have been exiled into time and space. Tell your wife yourself. Don't let her hear it from someone else. It will show that you are being honest and can perhaps be trusted again, and it will take the power away from this other woman.
Up next then, ban this filthy BBC filth. The BBC was plunged into a new storm of controversy last night following revelations about the filthy behaviour of some of its highest paid stars. Broadcasting house switchboards were jammed as an estimated 500,000 outraged viewers called to register their disgust at the filthy carryings on of such household names as Jeremy Paxman, Fiona Bruce and Terry Wogan. Singled out for particular criticism was £1 million a year news night host Jeremy Paxman, who according to the report routinely passes lumps of foul-smelling excreta through his anus into various toilet bowls at the television centre. An unnamed BBC source told the paper, "It's an open secret, the BBC, that Paxman regularly locks himself into a cubicle in the gents, takes down his trousers and pants and spends 10 minutes expelling germ-laden stools. He then wipes his backside with paper, washes his hands, and comes back into the studio as if nothing has happened. Filthgate, tell us what you think, Quakey Shaky. Long dormant pop star Shakin' Stevens may be set to explode back into activity, according to seismologists who have been monitoring him. The Welsh rocker, who topped the charts throughout the 80s with hits such as Green Door, This Old House and Maria Marie, stopped shaking and became still in the early 90s and has remained inactive for nearly a decade. Tremors. However, Stevens' concerned neighbours recently called in experts after they felt tremors which dislodged pictures and walls and caused pottery to rattle. It may be nothing, but it could be a warning that Shaky is becoming active again, said Professor Kidd Chocolate of Swansea's University Department of Geophysics. If this shaking continues, there could be a devastating full-scale eruption, with villages, towns and even cities laid to waste under millions of tons of red-hot lava. Choose what's it? The snacks they will last 1,000 years. The cheesiest, puffiest corn swastika in the world. Each cheesy Wotsit is guaranteed in uniformity of shape, size and cheesiness, and that's a promise. There's cheesy Wotsits right up my street. Golden Wunderbar Wotsits. She's cheesy flavoured corn swasnikas. Available at all good rallies. Great for kids' birthday Nazi parties. Golden Wunderbar. If you don't want Wotsits, there's always Mosley Munch. Mosley Munch fascist shaped snacks. The biggest munch a black shirt can crunch, and still only 30p. Raped, burgled, run over? Why not call the police? The police. Cuddly toy or Eurasian maniac, you decide. The first in a brand new limited edition collector's series, Bears of Murder. Since 1994, the mere mention of 25 Cromwell Street has struck terror into the hearts of British public, for in that year a horrified nation held its breath and placed bets on the final total as the so-called House of Horrors gave up its hideous secrets. For this was the infamous address where illiterate murderer Fred West killed and disposed of his hapless victims, plastering their rotten corpses into the walls and entombing them under the floors. We must never forget his chilling reign of evil, and what better way to remember this homicidal Gloucestershire pervert than with this heirloom collector's bear, Little Ted West. The first is a limited edition series. Little Ted stands a murderous 8 inches high, with his yokel tank top and his mop of curly hair. Who would guess that beneath his fluffy exterior beats the cold heart of a notorious rapist, torturer and serial killer? The real Fred cheated justice by hanging himself before he could stand trial. But for just one payment of £29.95, Little Ted will stand trial on your mantelpiece, helping you to troll your mind for vividly imagined details of his many vile atrocities. Little Ted West is both a charming memento of one man's dark and sadistic odyssey of stomach-turning sexual violence and a disturbing, malevolent avocation of pure whimsy. Do you know, if you don't want Ted West, there's always Borstal Boy. Who's been a naughty boy then? Priced at only £29.95 again. So the cheeky face says it all, he's just twacked his very first car. This lovable scamp is under the age of legal responsibility, and he knows it. 273 cautions for burglary, and he's only 4. Equal at home in the juvenile court or the vast disposal system of the local flats. This cheeky rascal is pumped up on whiz and ripped to his tiny tits on wobbly eggs, and there's nothing the police can do about it. So lifelike, you'll think the little twat has just broken in through your kitchen window, and priced only at $29.95. This irresistible Borstal boy will prove a worthy addition.
That is the end of the retro bollocks, so thanks for stopping by, I do appreciate it. If you look down at the bottom there, I've got 89 followers. That is amazing. So I just need one more and then I'll get 90 followers. So if you like being bored to death, or you just sat through all that shit that I've just, you know, you're never going to get that time back, but you just sat through that. If you want, give me a subscribe. Knock it up to 90. I'll do a cartwheel if I get 100 followers. Or I might even get my fly's eyes out. Anyway, thanks for stopping by.